Hello and welcome to Benefits and Readiness for Accela SaaS. I'm Jim White, Vice President of SaaS Migration at Accela. Our agenda today, we're going to cover the Accela SaaS platform, what that is and what it entails, upgrading to Accela SaaS, and how to prepare for that upgrade if you're an on-premise customer. A little bit more about myself. I've been with Accela about a decade. I've been a part of the professional services organization in various different roles, and now I'm leading our on-premise migration program. Joining me to answer questions after this presentation will be Dave Risconi, our Senior Vice President of Cloud Operations at Accela. So, an overview of Accela SaaS. First of all, just a quick reminder of what Accela SaaS is. So it's a software and licensing delivery model that's subscription-based and really all-inclusive of both the Accela platform and all the underlying infrastructure that you need to run it. It's centrally hosted and maintained by Accela on Microsoft Azure. And so far, we have over 250 customers that are currently in production on the Azure platform. So in terms of the benefits that SaaS provides, I think there are 5 key benefits that we want to look at today. Number one is just speed. Faster time to implement, lower time to value. That speed is inherent in a SaaS offering. Financial predictability. By being a subscription-based model, your cost is predictable over time and very linear versus an on-premise installation where there's big implementation cost up front and then lower cost on software maintenance, but then periodic expenses in terms of upgrades to the underlying infrastructure or upgrades to the software itself. Optimized IT environments. Being a SaaS platform, we of course have really optimized our platform and infrastructure for the delivery of the Civic platform in a way that to be realistic, you just can't do with an on-premise implementation. Increased agility. With the SaaS platform, you don't have to worry about scaling up quickly to meet a spike in business demand or to implement a new feature. The infrastructure is very dynamic. So we can take care of scaling up in those situations. Likewise, if you want to add additional functionality or additional users to the system, you don't have to worry about your infrastructure supporting it. And finally, an increased focus on innovation. By freeing your resources from maintenance and upgrades and just the regular sort of day-to-day keeping the system up and running, you're giving those folks an opportunity to focus more on value-added activities, adding features to the system, providing enhancements requested by the business, those types of things. So another benefit that I want to really focus on is security. And in today's environment, we're seeing more ransomware attacks, more cybersecurity threats than ever before. Particularly in the public sector. So I think with our SaaS offering, it's a good way to help protect yourself from those types of threats. So with our platform, we've invested a lot in security. We encrypt data both in transit and at rest. We do a lot of proactive security analysis, penetration testing, et cetera. And we've got a whole team that's been built around security and compliance. So if you have any additional concerns or questions around security and compliance, I'd certainly encourage you to speak with your account executive, and we can put you into touch with the appropriate resources at Accela. As part of security, I think audit and compliance is really key, right? Because even if we're doing a great job on security, you need to be able to show that, right? And show that you're compliant and taking the proactive steps necessary to keep your data safe. So along those lines, we do an annual SOC 2 audit, and we're happy to provide you with the results of that audit. as well as an annual PCI audit for those that are taking payments through the system. And we also do an assessment to CSA Star. So again, really have made a big investment here around audit and compliance, and happy to have a conversation in greater depth on these topics. Service reliability and management. I think this is an area where we continue to just grow and make investments. Our goal is to really be proactive here and be out in front of any issues that might occur on the platform and get them resolved before they can really have an impact to customers. We use a variety of different monitoring tools, both internal and external, to monitor system status, both for uptime and performance. And we've got a great operations team that's constantly monitoring and improving our infrastructure to address any sort of issues. You'll probably hear about the trust.accela.com site. That is a website that our customers can go and get continuous, constantly updated system information. If there's any incidents of any kind or any scheduled maintenance, that's always posted on the Trust site and gives you real-time feedback on what the status is. So, that all sounds great, but why are Accela customers specifically moving to SaaS? And I think there's 4 key drivers there. Number one is upgrades and maintenance. We all know that it's a challenge to keep your on-premise infrastructure and Civic platform software current, especially these last few years. We've really been good about sticking to a twice annual release cadence for major releases. That's tough to keep in sync with. So with SaaS, those updates are automatically applied for you. You don't have to worry about maintaining that infrastructure anymore. So it's a really big benefit to customers. Second is performance. Again, we've invested so much in our Azure platform. The performance that we're seeing on SaaS is really exceeding what on-premise installations can deliver. And I think if you talk to customers, you'll hear a lot of positive feedback on the performance that we've been able to deliver since moving to the Azure stack. Optimization and modernization. There's a couple of, I think, drivers there. With the move to SaaS and being on the current version of Accela, it's going to open up some opportunities to take advantage of new features. And it's also just a great opportunity if you're an on-premise customer and making the move to maybe do a little bit of further optimization. If you're still on one of the older scripting frameworks, to upgrade to get current on that. But also potentially to take advantage of some of the SaaS specific features like SSO or Accela Insights for your reporting purposes. So it just opens up a lot of opportunities. And finally is cost savings. Over time, we really see customers are actually saving money overall with the SaaS implementation when they're factoring in the cost of maintaining their infrastructure and the staffing behind that. They can really achieve some great value with a move to SaaS. So upgrading to Accela SaaS, this is really my personal focus, is helping our customers that are currently on-premise move their implementations to the cloud. So we developed a program around this, and we really wanted to make it as easy as possible, right? We wanted to minimize risk, keep the costs down, and really be able to customize the program to fit with the needs of a specific customer. And in achieving those objectives, a few key points. Number one, you'll be able to maintain your existing configuration, your scripts, your reports, all that investment that you've made in your current Accela system. You'll continue to see the value from that investment. Second, we can adapt and enhance things where they're required. There's not a whole lot of things that typically need to change when you move to the cloud, but there can be some. interfaces, reports, even a little bit of scripting that needs to be adjusted a little bit. And the program is built to allow us to really be able to provide help and guidance in those areas and help you maximize your investment. We can support versions of the Civic platform from 7.3 and up. So no worries if you're on an older version. And if you're contemplating an upgrade on-premise, it's a good opportunity to pause and evaluate SaaS. A lot of times, the investment that's required to do a major version upgrade on-premise is really comparable to the investment that's needed to move to SaaS. So when you consider all the additional benefits of SaaS going forward, it's really better value to just go ahead and migrate to SaaS versus doing an on-premise upgrade. And then finally, we support both Oracle and SQL Server for customers that are looking to upgrade to SaaS. So no worries in terms of which database you're running, what version you're on. So a little bit more about what's in our core migration package. So of course, we import your current configuration and your database and everything in there, get that into the cloud environments. We take care of the reports, getting those migrated into the environment, SSRS, Crystal, Ad Hoc. Those can need a little refactoring if they're taking advantage of some database customization. So we'll refactor those reports as part of the migration process. Interface migration, we typically cover at a minimum the 4 key interfaces that I've listed there: payments, EDMS, GIS, and finance. If you have additional interfaces, we can also look at migrating those or assisting with those as well. And then finally, some time for quality assurance and testing support. Of course, testing and validation is key before we move into production. So how's it been going? We've had this program up and running now since the spring of 2020. We've completed 14 projects with our customers. Those are in production. We have 10 more that are currently in progress. So really excited about that. We're seeing a lot of uptake from the customer base, and we're being able to get these projects done and into production pretty quickly. We've also completed 65 assessments, and we'll talk more about assessments here in a moment. So in terms of our methodology, this helps to explain it. We start with an assessment, and that's really just primarily a report that we run, an SSRS or Crystal report that'll provide a wealth of information about your system configuration. Once we have that, we'll review that with you, and that really becomes the basis of scoping out a migration project. So if we decide to go ahead with the project, the first step will be analysis. And that's where we take a little bit deeper dive into your configuration and make sure that we understand all the things that we're going to need to go in and change to make them ready for the move to the cloud. Then we get into the remediation phase where we actually go in and make those changes, remediate any issues that we find, and prep all the interfaces, reports, scripts, etc., for the move to the cloud. Once everything is ready, we'll move it into a non-production environment, hook up all the interfaces, get the reports deployed, and get the system ready for testing. We'll enter the testing phase, let you do a full set of regression tests. Certainly advisable at that point to bring in some end users and also have them test and validate the system. And really, this should be very similar to the type of regression testing that you do with an on-premise major version upgrade. And finally, once we've completed testing, resolved any issues that are found, we'll work with you on the go-live plan and execution. Typically, go-live will take place over a weekend. Really minimizes any impact of business activities and your citizens. And it's very seamless. Once you're live, we'll provide a little bit of enhanced support for a week or two, and then you should be good to go. So preparing for SaaS. I think the most important thing, if you're interested in moving to the cloud, is just starting some conversations, right? Talk to your AE at Accela, talk to other customers that have gone through this process. At this point, there's a wealth of knowledge out there. There's enough customers that have gone through this process that can really speak to the experience and provide some good guidance. The other thing that you can do is work with us to put together an upgrade plan, right? So even if you're not ready to go to SaaS today, you can help map out the things that you're going to need to do to get ready to go to SaaS. And a lot of those things you can do in your on-premise environment in advance. One other thing I'd encourage you to do is take a look at some of our case studies out there. Those provide a little more detailed information for some of those customers that have gone through the program and wanted to share some of their experience. From a technical perspective, I'd encourage you to look at what are the things in your system that are non-standard. So customizations that you've done in the database, particularly for supporting reports or interfaces, anything that you can do to go ahead and start removing dependencies on those database customizations will be helpful when you choose to upgrade. Any other database customizations that you've made, be it triggers. I've seen customers deploying custom auditing tools or things of that nature. Again, anything you can do to remove dependencies on those things and really confine yourself to the standard Accela schema, that will serve you well when it's time to upgrade. And finally, reach out to us, communicate. We're happy to help. So if you've got any questions around your configuration, your implementation, how something is working today in your environment as it relates to compatibility with SaaS, we're always happy to engage and help answer those questions. Finally, initiate development with SaaS in mind. So as you're going about new development for your system, be it new reports, new interfaces, scripting, etc., make sure that you're undertaking those projects with compatibility for SaaS in mind. And again, if you have questions about something, if it's going to be supported in SaaS, reach out to us and we'll be happy to answer those questions.